They're trying to learn how we practice. Like we talked to them about today, the difference between practicing and playing. Right now, we're just practicing football the entire time. We got to learn how to play football. And so just getting better at situational awareness, knowing the calls, just going full speed, not overthinking things. But they're learning us. And that's why we do this for 15 days, and I'm pleased with the progress so far.
When I spoke to you the first time, you said that everyone's standing out so far. Just anyone now specifically standing out to you so far these last couple of weeks?
Well, obviously, there's some guys that are making some plays. I think at every position, some guys are starting to establish themselves as possible playmakers. Of course, Lights out, with his veteran leadership, doing some good things. Just got to get him to hone in on the details. Up front, Jaheim's playing really well at a high level. Really excited about him. Keegan Davis flashes on defense. And I tell you what, the safeties have all made a bunch of plays, so I feel really good about the depth of safety right now. So there's some guys that are doing some really good things, and then probably the group that stands out the most right now are our specialists. Our kickers and punters are really booming the ball, and that's going to really help change the field for us.
I guess on the offensive line, with Jaheim being, that returner, just how important is it to have someone like him to kind of lead this group?
Well, I think anytime you have leadership up front, it's key. That group has to be in sync. Any successful offense has a great offensive line. So all 5 of those guys been on the same page, knowing the calls, understanding each other. That's going to be key. So we got a new group. They're trying to learn each other right now. Coach Patter's doing a great job with them. But I think we got to turn that from an inexperienced group to hopefully a position of strength.
Aside from Alex and Juju, it's a pretty young wide receiver group. A lot of them haven't seen any time on the field, at least on offense. Just how do you get those guys prepared?
Well, again, they just got to do it in practice. They got to get used to making plays, learning everything. The more you know, the faster you can play. And the ability's there. So it's not a matter of whether we don't have the talent in the room. We do. They just got to get to the point where they can line up and play fast, gain the confidence of Lights and other quarterbacks. And if they can put their talent on display by knowing what to do, I think they could be a really productive group.
When it comes to implementing new schemes, right, whether it's offense or defense, what have you seen progress-wise so far, and what are you hoping to see over the remainder of the spring?
Well, you hope to see just better communication across the board. Football is a game of communication. All 11 guys have to be on the same page. And so we want to see them talk more, be more confident in their calls. And when you're confident, you can speak loudly. Obviously, we opened up at home. Second game, we're going up to Happy Valley, which is one of the loudest stadiums in the country to play in. So we can't speak loud out here at practice. It's going to be really hard to hear when we go on a tough road game. So definitely want to see the communication improve. But again, I think they're learning how to play fast. Not as fast as we need to play, but they're starting to learn and understand how to chase the ball, how to chase the hatchet on offense. So those details, those habits will be things that separate us from other teams.
And Coach, talk about local leading and, reaching out. Besides the Lights, I've heard him on the sidelines reaching out. Who else have you seen step up as a leader?
Well, right now I stand in the middle of the field, so it's kind of hard for me to hear who's talking on the sideline. But again, we talk to the quarterbacks a lot about being leaders. Whether you're the first team or the fourth team guy, everybody follows the quarterback. So even a guy like Chayton, who's a redshirt freshman. I mean, right now he's taking second team reps, so you're one ankle sprain away from being the guy. So the offense has to have confidence that you can go in and lead. So again, don't take a backseat role, but that's for all the quarterbacks. And so again, Coach Coleman is really talking to those guys a lot about upping their leadership abilities.
And Coach, I'm just kind of curious because from the pass rush game today, really decent today, actually really great. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Is that someone on that line you think is going to be the leader early off in the spring?
Well, hopefully all 4 of those guys can be dominant. I think great D lines have depth across the board, and that's something that Coach KU is really working hard to build. So right now, a lot of the production from the defensive line, some of it's a testament to them and they're getting after the ball, but some of it's a testament to missed assignments on the offensive line. So definitely got to clean up that part. Definitely can't turn guys loose at the line of scrimmage. So again, we'll watch the film, get that corrected, and the more we know, the more consistent we'll be, the more we can determine what our true strength is on this football team.
Now on the other side of the field, Alex Perry comes all the way from Hawaii, though. Now, from your recruiting standpoint, though, what does it mean for you to have an outreach as far west as Honolulu, especially for a Florida kid like Perry?
Well, the good thing is we didn't have to reach far to get him because he's from right up the road. He was out at Hawaii, but again, very familiar with the program, with the area. I wanted to come back closer to home. So, we were able to show him how he can be featured in this offense. And after 5 days, I mean, he's shown the ability to be a big-time player for us. So, again, just continuing to get him reps, teaching them what we do. But right now, he's showing some really good flashes.
Speaking of transfers, have any other guys from this specific class already made their imprint on this roster throughout the spring?
Well, I think a lot of transfers have really made some plays. A.J. Allen has made plays every day in practice. He's done a really good job. Like I said, talk about the kickers with Trey Woodhard and Noah Grant are both transfers. They've done a really good job. Talked about Alex Perry. Up front, Antonio Tripp, Julius Pierce, those guys have done a really good job. Johnny Chaney on defense. Wesley made plays in the secondary. So all the transfers have shown flashes. Again, they're just trying to continue to get better every day like the rest of the guys. So we don't look at them as transfers anymore. They've been here for 3 months. They're Panthers.
Coach, I talked to a few guys on the sideline. They're saying that it's fun to play football again. That's the culture that is getting it out. But you're looking to get out to your players.
Well, we have 7 words in our program. All of them start with the letter F. Fun is one of those words. And so we want to make sure that we're making the game fun for them, that they're enjoying being out here, that they're embracing the grind that is football, that they're growing closer as a team. I mean, that's what makes it fun. It's not just loving football, it's loving what football brings. And so the camaraderie, competition, all those things is what we're trying to build. And right now that they're enjoying it, it's not too hot, so we'll see how much they enjoy it when the big eye in the sky shines a little bit brighter.
We're going to talk about Joseph Henry. I know I saw him out here today. I think you brought him out as a senior analyst. He was with you at Prairie View, at FAMU. Now, being able to bring him here, how much does that mean to you?
Well, I think Joe's the only guy on the staff that's coached about every position on offense, and aside from quarterbacks, and he's working with the quarterbacks. Okay. So he brings a wealth of knowledge as an O-line coach, as a tight ends coach, a running backs coach, an offensive coordinator. So again, he brings a lot of experience. Been in the SEC, been on championship programs, helped us win the championship at FAMU. So Joe's a guy that I've always had a ton of respect for because of his work ethic, because of his knowledge of football, and his humility. So again, I think he's going to be a great asset to us. And like I said, right now he's working with the quarterback. So between he and Coach Coleman, I think the quarterback's in really good hands.
Hey, Coach, I was kind of curious, though. As a former quarterback, Clemson, though, I mean, you have over a few my apologies, maybe 20 years so far in collegiate football. How much do you see of yourself in your playing days in Jenkins?
I can't remember my playing days. It's so long ago. No, but I think Lights brings a confidence to the position. I think the number one trait of a quarterback is confidence. I think that the other guys, knowing that the guy that touches the ball every play is confident in his ability, confident in his scheme, and that with him on the field, we have the best chance to win. And as a quarterback, that's what I always try to do when I play, and I see a lot of that in Lights.
Yeah, and also a Miami native, from Central. I see a lot of guys from Northwestern out here, some Somerset. What does it mean to have guys, of course, down here, recruiting-wise, at practice throughout the spring?
Well, it means the 5 coaches I have in Miami are doing their jobs. So again, that was a big part of the reason a lot of those guys were hired. We have to have a footprint in South Florida. So again, we've been in every school throughout January. We plan to do the same thing when we get out again. And of course, everyone knows this is the best recruiting area in the country, in the world. And so we've had schools throughout our 5 days. A lot of the prominent high schools from here in Dade and Broward County are coming out to watch us practice, allowing the guys to see how we do things. I think it bode well for us in recruiting.
All of those guys are doing a phenomenal job. I'm just excited to continue to see how they grow, and I'm seeing how they go ahead and finish out this spring. So far, we're off to a good start. And again, like I said, these guys are being good teammates. That's the thing we want to express first, is being able to root for your brother. Iron sharpens iron. But AJ is doing a good job. KJ is doing a good job. Devontae. They're able to showcase their ability with the ball in their hand in space, and they're also able to showcase their physicality of the game, being able to stick the ball, getting it downhill, and running through tacklers, right? And being able to also catch, right? Being able to be versatile out the backfield and catching the ball on the perimeter and playing in space and forcing the defense to defend the whole field. So they're all doing a good job, man. And even the other guys, man, being able to push those guys, right? Like Corbo and Clemens and Nate Henry, all of the guys in the room, they're being good teammates and they're holding each other accountable. That's where it starts.
With 3 guys who could start right away, I mean, how do you kind of split those reps for them?
Oh, man, listen, man, at the end of the day, man, we're just going to continue to practice, Hey, I'm glad we don't play the game tomorrow. We play it in the fall, so we got time. And, again, look, all of them going to have their fair share. They're all doing a great job. And right now, each and every one of them can go out there and be the number one guy, and I'll feel okay and feel comfortable with it, right? I think the whole organization will be comfortable with each and every one of them going out there and touching the field. And that's what we want to do. We want to build that room, right? Like there's a lot of great running back rooms across the country, and there's many of them that's able to go out there and take the first snap. It don't matter if you take the first snap or the last snap. It matters about you being able to execute the snaps while you're in there, right, and maximizing the opportunity.
When it comes to this scheme, right, how much growth have you seen from these guys already, and what are you hoping to see over the course of the remainder of the spring practices and heading toward the regular season?
Schematically is good, man. I think it's showcasing everybody's ability, whether you're able to stretch the field vertically or whether you're able to play out there on the perimeter in the quick game, or whether you're able to run power run and the physicality of the game, whether you're able to run some screens and showcasing the ability of linemen and being out there to play out there in space. And so in the quarterback, being able to have the opportunity to chuck it downfield, hit you a couple of play actions and some quick games. So I think the offense is very multiple, right? And is allowing everybody on offense to being able to showcase their ability, from the offensive linemen, from the tight end to the wide receivers and to the quarterback play. And so coach is doing a good job, our offensive coordinator, Coach Nick Coleman, and head coach Coach Simmons being able to guide and orchestrate this offense. And like I said, it's only spring practice number 5, and these guys are able to execute it at a high level. So we're going to continue to obviously gain ground and get better, and add a couple of sprinkles here and there, and and that'll be the playbook. But this offense is very versatile, and I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Coach Simmons also spoke about guys being vocal, guys stepping up as leaders. What have you seen in that regard from him?
Man, I think, look, those guys are beating me to the punch when it comes to coach a player up. If it's a guy who's fumbling the ball or making a bad read or missing a protection, hey, coach, I got it, right? And so that's what you want. The more leaders that you can cultivate and build within the room, when they're out there in the game and the going gets tough, they're able to withstand the storm, right? We want guys who understand how to play under difficult moments, right? And so that's what leadership does, right? Everybody can lead when everything is going right and everything being done correctly, but who can lead when the game is tough, right? That's why I always have this saying about running backs. We do the dirty work and we're the spark, right? So it requires both versions of ourselves at being able to compete and really mentally communicate and effectively execute at a high level. So that leadership ability, the more we can build them off the field, the more is going to be able to help us on the field for them guys to go out there and play fast and be able to compete.
One thing a lot of players mention is just how energetic you are with them. Just where does that come from, and how important is it to just kind of maybe relate a little bit to the players just with that energy?
Not taking life for granted. I'm a believer, so the Lord has allowed me to wake up today and have my feet on the ground. And the reality of it is there are some people who physically just can't do this, right? So I tell them each and every opportunity that you have to go ahead and play this game that you say that you love, and the man upstairs bless you with that opportunity, don't take it for granted, right? So he's allowed me to be healthy. He's allowed me to be able to be fit to run around, and so I don't take that for granted. There's somebody who wished to be in my position, who wished to be here, right here. There's a lot of million guys who would love to be the running back coach here at FIU, and I don't take that for granted. So he's blessed me with a phenomenal opportunity, and each and every day I owe it to the man upstairs when I touch the field, and owe it to these guys, just the way that I go about my approach and how I handle my business, right? So you got to love it. You can't like it.
Coming over with that pod, what's your relationship like with them over?
Oh, man, phenomenal, man. It's good when you can come to a place with somebody that you already have chemistry with, right? Especially with us being running backs and them being offensive linemen. There's a lot of things that we got to do together, whether it's in pass protection or also into the run game. And there's calls and IDs that we got to be in sync and communicating together, right? So it's good that, there's some kind of familiarity from a verbiage and that you don't really have to learn, right? You just kind of mesh it, put it together in the way Coach Simmons wanted, and then go out there and execute it. So there's good. And, there's a lot of guys that I knew here just coming over here from Gator, and Coach Duet and, Coach JB working with the wide receivers, and Coach Frank Ponce. So there's good chemistry as a staff. So that's always a pleasant thing when you can go into a place, into a building with some familiar faces to go out there and do the work that it requires you to do.
You speak about the running backs in this game being able to do everything, whether it's running the ball, catching the ball, pass blocking. What's the mentality you're trying to instill in all these guys? What's the mentality you're trying to ensure, no matter who's on the field for this team, that they're playing with that specific mentality?
Man, well, it's two things that we have, right? It's two different core. Number one is urgency and detail. You got to be urgent when you're on the football field, right? If you're not playing fast, you're giving yourself an opportunity to get hurt. So you got to be urgent and play with speed. And then the details. Obviously, there's assignments that each play has that you got to go out there and execute. So you got to play with the details, and that's my alignment, that's my eyes, that's my aiming point, that's being on my track in the run game, that's making sure that I'm locating the backer, being inside out in pass protection, sticking my cleat in the ground, playing physical, right? And then the other thing is attendance and effort, right? Being here, showing up in effort, giving me what you got when you're here, right? The reality of it in consistency, like you're not going to be 100% or 110 every day, right? Someday you might come in here and you only might feel like 50%. Well, if that's what you got, give me what you got, right? So we want to make sure that we continue to enforce urgency and details, right? And then we want to make sure, like we said, attendance and effort and chasing excellence. Coming out here and not being afraid to make a mistake, right? Because we can learn and teach off of it when we go back into the film room, into the classroom, to being able to make the correction. So being out here and being intentional and not being afraid of making a mistake, because you want to practice the move that you're going to go see on Saturday, right? So, that's what we talk about in our room, having connection. And again, ultimately, kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So having that relationship, player to coach, understanding that I'm going to be there for them.
Thank you. Just what's been like these last couple of weeks?
It's really just been like a total homecoming. Working with Coach Simmons so long at FAMU, it's like we never left. It's like we never separated. The energy is the same. The details are the same plays, same playbook. So it feels right at home. So yeah, it's all good.
What stood out to you so far about this wide receiver room? I know Juju's out right now, but you still have Hawaii transferring. A lot of young guys who haven't seen snaps on offense, but they've played on special teams.
Right, that's exactly how I would kind of categorize the guys. It's a young group, inexperienced right now, but guys that love football. I'm coaching a lot of guys that love football. They're very open to the coaching and wanting to get better. I got guys, their noses are wide open. They're looking forward to coming into meetings and learning something new, learning different techniques. So it's really been a pleasure to coach this group so far.
Any guys that have stood out to you so far in that room?
Oh yeah, a few guys. Alex Perry is going to be a good one for us. He's the new guy of the bunch per se, but he has some game experience and he shows it. He loves football. Comes in extra. He'll stand out. He'll get what he deserves on game days. Kyle McNeil's another one. He'll get what he deserves on game days. And again, man, I got a lot of young guys that are shining. They're just puppies right now, but they're showing what they can develop into right now. So yeah.
I guess with the young guys who haven't seen any snaps in offense, just how do you kind of prepare them for that? Just getting here in practice.
The first thing about myself is I keep the pressure on. The first time feeling pressure won't be on a game day on third down when everybody's expecting them to make plays. They come to meetings under pressure. They come into practice under pressure. Every rep we take is just a pressure situation. It's a very serious situation. That's kind of how I'm trying to train their minds, and train my guys. We stay under pressure so when we get to the game, it's easy.
Speaking to that pressure, right? How have the guys taken to that? How have they taken to the coaching within the offensive scheme? And what are you hoping to see over the duration of the sprint?
How the guys take to the pressure coaching. It's an adjustment, I think, for them. That's very clear. It's definitely an adjustment, but they're embracing, man. Like I said, man, I got guys that I believe love football. They enjoy being coached. They want to be coached. So the new style of coaching that they're getting, they're embracing it for the most part, and it really makes my job a lot easier to coach guys that want to be coached. So they're embracing it.
And Perry, though, I mean, from him being a junior, of course, a lot of collegiate experience from Hawaii, from Port Charlotte. Is there like a leadership attribute to him? Is he like already a early start-off leader in spring?
Yeah, I think the leadership ability that he has right now, his quality is the maturity, right? He's a mature. He's not all the little boy things are behind him already. So that's great. And then again, just the experience. He more leads our group by example. He's not a super vocal guy, but he does lead by example. Of just doing things the right way, handling his business like a grown man, taking care of his body, coming in extra, doing meetings and things. Every day I look up, he's doing something extra on the field, so that is leadership in itself. So he's leading by example.
And off the field, though, any surprises from your room? And as you say, a lot of young guys, any of them trying to take that leap to the next level?
Yeah, I've had a few surprises, man. Even some of the walk-on guys. We got guys here that are competing right now, and they're walk-ons. Guys like McGuire, guys like Andre Brown. Like those guys are walk-ons, and they're showing something. They're flashing and showing that they have ability and that they belong here as well.
With Perry, how do you see, you guys using him? I know big dude, so I'm sure red zone be part of that and then
Oh,
those
yeah.
50-50 balls?
Yeah, we're not going to limit him to the red zone and 50-50 balls, though, man. That kid can do a lot more than just be a big body. Like, he can run routes. We're going to utilize him blocking. He loves to put his pads on people. You know, he has the ability to run with the ball after the catch, so we'll utilize him in every way that he allows us.
I know you mentioned Kyle McNeil. Just talk a little bit about him. I know he's a guy Q1's really high on this coaching staff, too.
Yeah, Kyle's a guy that you can see development in. You know, again, he's a young guy that hasn't played a lot yet, but you know, he's developing. Like, from the first day that I been coaching Kyle to just today's practice, you can see the development in Kyle. He has the God-given talent, but now he's putting the details and the attention to his fundamentals. Like, that's starting to show a little bit more. So I watch a kid just get better daily.
And for you personally, just how nice is it to be back in Miami in this weather?
Oh, man, ain't no place like the crib, man. It really ain't. Like, literally, there's no place that I've been a lot of places in my life, and I don't compare none of them to Dade County, man. So it's really a blessing and a homecoming for myself to be able to do what I love to do back at home, and, you know, where I was born and raised at, for sure.
With a young group, you know, and a lot of different guys competing, what's the mentality you want everyone to play with? You know, no matter who's on the field, no matter who's in what specific role, what's the overall mentality and just play style you want these guys playing with?
Aggressive. Everything we do gonna be aggressive. Like, a lot of people think about a receiver and they think finesse, fast, quick, you know, he can make juke moves and stuff, but that we walk into the room and we want to be the most aggressive, the most physical group on the football field. The finesse, that'll naturally come, right? The quick, the juke and all of that will come, but we're gonna walk in as aggressors. We want to be the aggressors at all times, so that's what I would say. Sound good?